Okay, so just wanted to come on here and make a short video. I know my channel and stuff isn't that big, but um, my family goes to a homeschooling thing called Home Team that has classes with schooling stuff. Um, I was thinking about attending this semester with my service dog Brandy, so I decided to send this message. I'll put it up in just a sec. And this message says, "Hey, I was thinking about going to home team this semester. Through the divorce, I have experienced a lot of anxiety, and the counselor I went to noted that too. So Brandy, my dog, has been task trained to be my psychiatric and medical alert service dog. I wanted to check with you to see if I could bring her along with me. Medical alert service dog, she alerts to dizziness, feel dizzy, or if I have a hot flash, and psychiatric for if I get anxious and start breathing heavy, she will alert me to sit down to deep pressure therapy." And this is what she sends back. She sends back, "Hey Rachel, I know legally people cannot say they won't allow a service dog, but I also know that they go through a ton of training and need to be leashed and have identification paperwork and harness. By the ADA law, you do not need any certification or ID to prove that it is a service dog, and it is illegal to ask for that. And because I get dizziness and stuff, Brandy, my service dog, would be able to be off leash and under control with the fact that if I pass out or something, it could harm her. And service dogs do not need any harness, collar, leash, anything identifying that it is a service dog when you go out through places." And she has gone through about a year of training so far. So she has gone through many hours. And then she goes, "My concern is that first, no food classes with an animal. Second, they draw so much attention and they end up being a huge distraction in class. First of all, I wasn't planning on doing food class. Don't really like food classes with making all this different stuff that I don't know. And second off, it is not my job to be in charge of other people, and if they are distracted by a service dog, she is medical equipment for my needs, and she's not there for other people enjoyment. She would be tucked away in a corner and out of the way, so not a lot of people will see her." Then she goes, "Someone else in this brought her dog twice, kept it in a cage. I did allow that because it was contained. Okay, cool. It was contained. I don't really care about that." Then she adds in the message, "I don't know the size of your animal and if it can be left in a car. Would you be able to go to the vehicle and calm yourself if you felt the need? I do not care for the idea of having it with you in classes with you." So Brandy is a medium-sized border collie dog, and typically you never want to separate a service dog from its handler in case something bad happens for the dog to be able to alert. The only time that you would separate service dog from its handler is if like the handler passes out or something happens and the dog needs to be held back for people to come help the handler, or in like zoos or something, if a service dog could not go into that exhibit with the animal, yes, you would have your family, friend, whoever you want hold your service dog while that happens, and if you're and other stuff, etc. So and she couldn't be left in the car, and sometimes I can't feel when I start to get anxious or have flashes or dizziness, so the reason she would be with me is to alert me to those upcoming, and it's kind of cold right now, and if she were to go in the car, I would not want to go out to the car just to do deep pressure therapy in the cold outside where it could be snowing. I'm not going to do that with her. And also, again, not my fault if people are distracted by my service dog met for me for my needs. And then she goes, "What do you think? I'm willing to compromise, but also not let it change focus of the class you are in, as I don't think that is fair to the teachers." Okay, yes, compromise. A lot of the stuff she said in this message was wrong about the service dog, about them needing certification, need to be leashed, but that is mostly right in scenarios or whatever, that they can be off leashed, and the harness. They don't need any sort of certification, like I said. And parents should be educating their kids on to ignore the service dog. And these classes that I'm in are 7th through 12th grade, so it's older kids. So if they were told leave the dog be, ignore it, I'm betting that grade of kids could leave the service dog be because they're more mature than like 1st grade to like 4th grade and 6th grade. So I haven't sent anything back to that yet, but I went to the ADA law and I screenshotted and circled some parts of what I want to share with you guys about the service dog and service dogs and their access right and legalness and stuff that's legal with them. So I'm going to pop up some of the pictures here, pause to read them. I'll explain the pictures and stuff when I put them up. So here's just some of the part where it says, when it is not obvious what service animals provides, only limited requires are allowed, staff may ask 2 questions. Is the dog a service animal required because of a disability? Yes, she is. Psychiatric and medical alert. And 2, what work or task has the dog been trained to perform? Staff cannot ask the dog or ask about the person's disability, require medical documentation, require a special identification card or training documentation for the dog, or ask the dog demonstrate its ability to perform the work or task. So she wouldn't be able to whatever. Allergies and fear of dogs are not valid reasons for denying access or refusing service to people using service animals. When a person who is allergic to dog dander, and a person who uses a service animal must spend time in the same room or facility. For example, in a school classroom or at a homeless shelter, they both should be accommodated by assigning them, if possible, to different locations within the room or different rooms of the whatever. A person with a disability cannot be asked to remove a service animal from the premises unless 1. The dog is out of control and the handler does not take effective action to control it, or 2. The dog is not housebroken. When there is a legitimate reason to ask that a service dog be removed, staff must offer the person with the disability the opportunity to obtain goods or services without the animal's presence. So yes, she is housebroken. And 2, she is not out of control. She is under my control, so there would be no trouble with that. With all of this, for her to say, no, you cannot have your service animal with you inside. And I also got more stuff about this that I'm going to put up in a picture right now. In this show, staff cannot ask about the handler's disability. They may only ask the 2 questions. Is the dog a service animal required because of a disability, like I said, and what work or task has the dog been trained to perform? She has been trained to alert to heavy breathing, change of breathing patterns. We're still working on the high heart rate alerts with her, but she will also help steady me out a little bit if I get dizzy. It's not a big thing with like whatever the mobility. I'm not stressing out her back. But then here at the bottom, it also says if it's the business responsibility to manage children and not this disabled person's responsibility to give up access. So that means it doesn't matter if it doesn't really matter if I will be distracting, because it is their job to take care of the kids if they're getting distracted by the service dog, because she is medical equipment and task trained, which I'll show for the medical equipment here. And here, why are service dogs considered medical equipment? 1, they maintain a disability under the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act. A service dog is defined as a dog that is individually trained to do work or perform tasks for a person with a disability. Those tasks directly reduce impact of a medical condition, for example, learning to medical episodes, providing balance supports, retrieving medication, or guiding. She retrieves stuff. If I needed to retrieve it, she's very good at it. Because they function to assist medical need, they're treated similar to items like wheelchairs, canes, oxygen tanks, hearing aids, etc. They are not pets legally. Service dogs are not pets. Their access rights don't come from being animals. They come from being assisted required for daily functioning. That's why business cannot exclude them under no pets rules. Housing can't charge pet fees or deposits. They're allowed in places where animals normally aren't: restaurants, hospitals, schools, etc. They must be allowed wherever the handler goes because the service dogs are medical aids. Separating a handler from the dog can be equivalent to taking away a wheelchair, removing a medical device, denying access to a disability accommodations. This is why denying access can be considered disability discrimination unless the dog is out of control or not housebroken, which she is not out of control and she is housebroken, so that would not apply to her. It protects the handler's rights. Classifying service dogs as medical equipment ensures equal access, protection from unnecessary questioning, protection from extra fees or restrictions, recognition that the dog is essential, not optional. She is essential. And I also want to add this in here, pause to read, that if a kid distracts my service dog, it is technically a crime. So it is not my fault if they get distracted by the service dog or if they distract the service dog, because they're supposed to act like the service dog doesn't even exist there. So if a kid distracts it or whatever, not my fault. It is the teacher's fault and the parents' fault for not educating the kids, and the teacher's fault for not keeping the kids under control and telling them to leave the service dog be. And here's another thing I'm going to show in just a sec about public access rights again. In the United States, yes, generally it is illegal to deny a service dog and its handler access just because the dog might be distracting to children. Here's why. It's in simple terms what the law says, ADA, Americans with Disabilities Acts. Under the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, a service dog is allowed anywhere the public is allowed. And here's the thing, I'm not 100% sure if the home team thing that we go to is public access, but I'm like 99.99% sure it is, because anyone can sign up to go to it, which means anyone out in the public can sign up to go to it with children, so I would include that in it. And here's the rest of it. Businesses cannot exclude a service dog due to fear, allergies, complaints from others, concern that children might be distracted. So here's another thing that says they cannot legally deny access to my service dog because children might get distracted and whatever. A potential distraction to kids is not a valid legal reason to deny access, which means that has nothing to do with denying me access with my service dog to come to this thing. It's your fault to keep your kids and students under control and to keep them educated. But I just wanted to come on here to merely share with you guys the public access rights for these service dogs and what businesses can and can't do and stuff like this with the thing I'm going into. I will show more pictures of stuff from like the ADA and stuff on Google from like the ADA, because I couldn't find it all on the ADA, but it is all from the ADA and federal law. So there's like 3 or 4 pictures, maybe a couple more. Pause to read them. I've circled some stuff on different things. I'm not going to read every single page, describe it all. So here they are. So again, here are some of the other pictures that I have from the ADA that I thought I'd just put them in here. So I will probably text back this person tomorrow within the next couple of days, talking and saying what can and she can't do with the service dog and the access, whatever. She has been through lots of training. She is owner trained, which does not matter as long as she is trained to perform at least one task for my disability, which she is. She is trained in about 3 to 5, which is plenty. And she has vests, she has a whole bunch of patches, but yeah, that's all I just wanted to share with you guys. Bye.